So now we're going to multiply our polynomials together. Before we do that, I do want to review some of our exponent rules. When you have a to the m times a to the n, as long as the bases are the same, you can combine that, keep the same base, a, and add those exponents together. I've got an example here to the side. It says simplify 3n to the 6th times 2n to the 4th. You are still going to multiply those coefficients together. 3 and 2 still get multiplied together to make 6. And now take n to the 6th and multiply it with n to the 4th. Adding those exponents, 6 plus 4 gives us 10. 6 into the 10th. We're going to need to be able to do that as we multiply our polynomials together. Let's start with number 1. We're multiplying monomials. That's one term with polynomials, any size. So look at number 1. Negative 7x squared is our monomial, and it's multiplying with this binomial 3x squared minus 10x. This should look familiar. You've done similar problems. We are just going to use our distributive property. So multiplying those first terms together gives me a negative 21. And use those x's, multiply those together, x squared times x squared, add those exponents gives us x to the 4th. Multiplying with the second term, two negatives make a positive, 7 times 10, 7d. And then x squared times x. There's an understood 1 on that x, so 2 plus 1 gives me x to the 3rd, or x cubed. Negative 21 x to the 4th plus 70x cubed is our final answer. Let's do it again with number 2. We have 9x squared, a monomial, times our trinomial here, negative 4x squared minus 6x minus 3. Using distributive property, I'm going to get negative 36x to the 4th. Add those exponents. The second term, 9 times negative 6 is negative 54. X squared times the x adds up to give us x cubed. And multiply with the last term, 9 times negative 3 makes negative 27. And do not forget that x squared. He was still there and needs to be included. There's our final answer, multiplying monomial with the trinomial. In number 3, we're going to multiply two binomials together. And guys, this is what we are going to do very often throughout the rest of Algebra 1 and frequently in Algebra 2. We are going to multiply those two binomials using an acronym called FOIL. Now, FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, last. And this is the order that we are going to multiply the terms together in. Before we do that, let me illustrate that we can also multiply it a different way. We can break up this first term, 2x, and multiply it with the binomial x minus 4. Then take the second term, negative 6, and multiply it with x minus 4 as well. It's like doing the distributive property with the first term, distributive property with the second term. So let's complete that. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 4 is negative 8x. Negative 6 times x is negative 6x. And negative 6 times negative 4 is a positive 24. On these, 99% of the time, you need to combine like terms in the middle, giving us 2x squared. Negative 8x minus 6x would give me negative 14x plus 24. So let's look at number 4. I'm going to show the parallel from this previous problem on number 3, where we just kind of like did distributive property with this acronym FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. So number 4, we're going to multiply the first two terms together. So the 3x and the x are going to get multiplied together. Look at what's going to happen here. 3x times x, 3x squared. I made a similar movement on number 3 when I did 2x times x. Going back to number 4, that was our first. Now we're going to do the outer, or the outsidemost terms. The 3x and the 8 get multiplied together to give me 24x. Again, I did something very similar on number 3 when I multiplied 2x and the negative 4 together. Next is inner, or the insidemost terms. The 7 and the x get multiplied together to give us 7x. We did that over here when we did negative 6 and the x. And then finally, first, outer, inner, last, the last two terms. So we did 7x, now we're going to do 7 times 8 to give us 56. So the acronym FOIL does the same thing as if you rewrote it as distributive property. So just know FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, last, and multiply it that way. And again, we are going to probably have like terms in the middle to give us our final answer, 3x squared. Combine the 24x and the 7x to give us a 31x plus 56 final answer. Let's look now at number 5. We've got the quantity of x minus 3 squared. Now, you cannot take that squared and drop it in. Remember, squared means that that thing being squared is being multiplied by itself twice. So I'm going to write it out twice, and let's do FOIL and see what comes out. First, the x times the x, the first two terms get multiplied to give us x squared. Outer, or the outside terms, get multiplied together to give us negative 3x. Inner, or inside terms, give us another negative 3x. And last, the last two terms from each binomial, negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. Combining those like terms in the middle, our final answer, x squared minus 6x plus 9. Notice this is not the same thing if I had taken x minus 3 and dropped that squared inside. Maybe you would have gotten x squared minus 9, or maybe you would have squared the negative 3 and got a plus 9. Either way, we're missing that entire middle term, the negative 6x. So make sure if you see a quantity or a binomial being squared, go ahead and just write it twice and FOIL multiplying it out. Let's practice that again with number 6. Again, we have an entire quantity being squared. So I'm going to write it out twice and use the FOIL method to multiply. X times x is x squared. X times 5 is 5x. Inner terms gives me another 5x, and last, 5 times 5 is 25. Combine those like terms in the middle so that we have x squared plus 10x plus 25, final answer. For our last section, we're going to multiply binomials and trinomials together. So for number 7, our binomial is x plus 4. We're going to multiply that with the trinomial x squared plus 3x minus 6. We're going to use the same process that we did above. I'm going to take the x and multiply it across the entire trinomial, x squared plus 3x minus 6. And then I'm going to take the 4 and also multiply it across the entire trinomial. You cannot use the FOIL acronym to multiply a binomial with a trinomial. You're going to miss out on some pieces. FOIL can only be used for 2 binomials. So we're just going to be distributing here. So let's multiply x times x squared. That's going to give me x cubed. X times 3x is going to multiply and give us 3x squared. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. Moving on to the next section, 4 times x squared is a 4x squared. 4 times 3x is 12x. And the last part, 4 times negative 6, negative 24. Now, we've got lots of terms here. Look for like terms to combine and simplify this polynomial. Remember, we always want to write our polynomials from highest degree to lowest degree. So let's start with x cubed. There is no other x cubed terms. I'm going to look now for x squared terms. We've got 3x and 4x makes 7x squared. I have a negative 6x that I could also combine with 12x to give us positive 6x. And do not forget your constant, negative 24. Final answer. We're going to do the same thing, number 8. I'm going to take 3x and multiply it across the entire trinomial, 5x squared plus 2x minus 6. Then take the 1 and multiply it also across the entire trinomial, just doing distributive property across this trinomial. 3x times 5x squared is 15x cubed. 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 3x times negative 6 is negative 18x. And then moving on, we're going to do 1 times 5x squared is 5x squared. 1 times 2x is 2x. And 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. Work through to combine like terms. We only have a 15x cubed term. Then we have 6x squared that we can combine with 5x squared to give us 11x squared. We have a negative 18x and a positive 2x to give us a negative 16x. And do not forget your minus 6 constant. Final answer. So multiplying polynomials, just remembering our exponent rules. If you're multiplying, Variables, you add their exponents together. We are going to be multiplying monomials with polynomials, binomials with other binomials, and then binomials with trinomials. If it is two binomials, guys, we're going to be using that a lot. You can use the FOIL acronym to help you remember to multiply your first, outer, inner, and last. Be practicing that so you can become quicker at doing that, because again, that's going to be a skill that we are going to use from here on out. So practice those, and I'll see you in class.